It's Tuesday night, it's 9 o'clock, and where else would you be but with us here on Gantry TV for the latest round of the MX-5 World Series, hosted by RTA in association with motorsport.ie, and indeed us here at Gantry TV and the Sim Consultants. Hello, a very good evening, and we are backstage side once again for the round 4, getting to the middle part now of the MX-5 World Series. It's a big week for Irish motorsport. We saw Alex Dunn taking part in Formula 1 once again, and of course this weekend coming is one of the most important racing fixtures on the calendar. Obviously ICCR weekend, but we have the Leinster Trophy at Mondello Park. We'll have a number of those guys taking part in that this Saturday or Sunday's race, taking part again this evening. But focus is on the virtual track this evening. My name is Kevin Galvin. I'm joined by Evan Dalton and Ronan Hederman, as ever, doing great work in the background. And while last week we were rained out at a soggy at Donington Park, this week we head back across the Atlantic Pond and back over to the Mid-Ohio Sports Course. This is a track we know extremely well. We raced in it last time in the IndyCars. We've raced in it a good few times at this point. 2.25 miles, 13 turns, willpower, with a race lap record of 105.26 in the IndyCar series. Obviously quite considerably slower than that this evening in the MX-5s, but it's all set to be a fantastic evening's racing. Evan, you've already had a look at the Leinster Trophy this week for Bois Motorsport. I would definitely I'd recommend you go check that out on Instagram. So it's a big weekend for Irish motorsport. It's a big weekend for some of these guys on the grid, but they have the matter of the latest round of this MX-5 World Series first.
Hiya Kevin, hello everybody. They do have the Leinster Trophy this weekend, but dare I say the RTA Mazda MX-5 World Series is the most prestigious thing they're racing for currently. And of course we'll be talking about your Leinster Trophy runners throughout the evening, but more importantly we're here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, and this is a popular track amongst our drivers. I know Peter McCann is very much looking forward to this evening. Ronan Doherty and Dylan McClements will both be looking forward to this one as well. Last time we visited here last season in the IndyCars for round number 5, Ronan took 2 wins, Dylan took 1, and with those two sweeping the board last week in Donington as well, they'll be looking to keep up their hot form and extend championship leads from Conor Melia. So we should have a good race on our hands this evening, and I am thoroughly looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really good one. Last week was great fun. In the wet rain, we saw some superb racing. Ronan Doherty almost going for a treble of wins, and that superb week last week sees him lead the MX-5 World Series. So it's Ronan Doherty ahead of Conor Melia, then Dylan McClements, Robbie Callahan, and Diarmid Toomey. We'll have a look at some of your other runners in a second. But Evan, a superb weekend for Ronan last weekend. Almost had a treble of victories. We still have yet to have that this weekend, but he's certainly already establishing a good lead at the top of the standings after 3 rounds.
Yeah, good lead at the top, but still very close between himself, Conor Melia, and Dylan McClements. Then 30 points back to Robbie Callahan, who's been one of our, I wouldn't necessarily say surprises, but not a usual championship contender up there. Diarmid Toomey is in 5th position, great season so far from him. Camto Chukwa in 6th, Evan Walsh in 7th, and it is Sean McGoldrick, Peter McCann and Dave Collier in 10th position. It's a good championship to have your name start with M. 4 of the top 10 have M surnames, with Sean McClemens looking to add himself into the mix soon. That's your random pointless fact that no one cares about for this evening. Ronan Doherty, though, last week in heat number 3, taking a very important win, and that was actually the first heat free this season that we've had any of the Team DDR drivers on the podium. So it's been a real mixed bag in terms of that 20-minute race, and I can't see why it'd be any different tonight.
No, absolutely not. Now, great to see some of our regular chat contributors back in the chat. Johnny Hollywood, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you are well. Johnny has joined us from hospital on occasions, but I hope you're somewhere more comfortable than that this evening. But the big talking point this evening, Evan, with a Tuesday evening, we'll have a look at the B series in a second, but Dave Collier leading Eddie Dempsey and Ollie Meredith, then Nathan Sweeney and Ross Wheatley. So that's something to keep an eye on as well as we go through the series. And that number 10 position, Jamal Gandor, he has told us with 6.1 gigabytes required on this new iRacing update. It will require 40 minutes for him to get it done. So he's hoping to show up by around race 3. So don't expect to see Jamal in a fight for the B Championship this season if things keep going against him in the way they are. But we only had, I think, 14 drivers on grid up until recently, Evan. And that iRacing update, unfortunately, the updates generally come on a Tuesday. They've affected race weeks before, and once again, a big update from those guys at iRacing Central means that, unfortunately for some people, it's putting their time limits to the test, and definitely their broadband connections to the test.
Yeah, definitely, and it's very disappointing for those who weren't able to race tonight, as they have big, lengthy updates to do. But it is actually quite good that we are racing tonight anyways, because we've had a good few races affected, as you've said, Kevin, where they've had to be called off or postponed due to the servers not being up. So fair play to iRacing Studios. It was a fairly hefty update, but they've got it all ready for RTA. Big fans, the boffins over stateside in iRacing, or so I've heard. Couple of cars off already. Some may be thinking we're doing the chicane, but that is the number 10 of Phil Upson who we're looking at heading down towards the hairpin. We haven't had a repeat pole sitter so far this season. Ronan Doherty, Dara Halley and Sean McGoldrick taking the 3 pole positions. So if someone else other than those 3 were to take it tonight, we would be continuing the trend. We've never had a season in RTA where there's been 8 different pole sitters.
Well, it just goes to show you, though, how competitive this season has been and how close and paced these guys are matched. Of course, last week, the wet weather kind of interrupted things and changed things a lot, but this week we're back in the dry, and that'll bring everyone a little bit closer together, I suspect. Sean McGoldrick unfortunately had a hard time of it last time, as did Dylan McClements. So a number of the main championship contenders getting in all kinds of trouble last week. So I'm sure for them, Evan, they'll be delighted to see clear skies here over the state of Ohio, the town of Lexington, as we have this again 3 heats to try and get back into it and make a mark.
Yeah, I mean, I know our standards at Dylan McClements are fairly high, but I wouldn't call 2 race wins diabolical. It wasn't too bad for Dylan, but certainly he didn't make a lot of inroads in the championship because Ronan finished right behind him in 2 and then won the other. So there wasn't a lot of championship inroads. He's just gone quickest by 0.2 of a second ahead of Conor Melia. Then there's his brother Sean McClements, who is in 3rd. Sean making the grid tonight after stepping away from late race preparations for that Leinster Trophy on Sunday. Dermot Toomey in 4th. Dermot, who I actually had the pleasure of finally meeting on Sunday after the final round of karting. So it was nice to finally meet Dermot. Emma Dempsey then in 5th, Sean McGoldrick in 6th, and it is Phil Upson and Ronan Duffy with no one else getting laps on the board on the first occasion. Track limits, not a problem around mid-Ohio. It's a good old classic circuit. If you go off track limits, that means you're on the grass.
Yeah, and if you go off the grass here at iRacing, even though the updates might have changed some things, the new look and everything, but the icy iRacing grass is still very much a thing for these drivers. So if you go off, expect to be pushed off into the Netherlands and not to come back for quite some time. So yeah, this is Dylan McClements. My apologies, Evan. I thought Ronan Doherty had actually won race 1 and race 2, but obviously my memory tricking me in what's been a very busy week. And once again, Dylan goes top of the timing tables. Now, he doesn't have a huge amount of space, but he will have a tow, and that's actually Ronan Doherty in front of him, I think. If I'm right, the number 2 car, let me have a look. Yes, it is Ronan Doherty ahead of him. So Ronan's actually giving Dylan a bit of a tow, which is exactly why Ronan just pushed out of the way now and leaving Dylan to his own devices. It looks like he's behind Conor Melia now. So all of these championship contenders quite close together, and surprising to see some of them offering tow to the others, whether it be inadvertently or otherwise.
Yeah, it's disappointing when championship rivals are friends, aren't it? We want them throwing hammers at each other. But we want a Verstappen-Hamilton rivalry. I think we need in RTA. The closest we got to that was Doherty and Smith, but they're having an actual rivalry, of course. in Formula 4 this year. But on board with Dylan McClements now, heading down towards turn number 4. This is where you'd get the rolling starts in real life, but of course we start on the actual main straight on iRacing. You're looking at a break at about the 300 yards. I would say board, but it's cones into the right-hander. Now you're into the sweeping S's section at turn number 5. This feels like a roller coaster in fast single-seaters. I imagine it's something similar in the Mazdas. In through turn number 6, it's a quick flick to the left, and then quickly to the right through turn number 7, utilising all that curb on the inside. Point your car straight, braking for Thunder Valley at turn number 9. What a great corner name, heading up to turn number 10. 11 and the final sections of track. You can try a lunge into this final corner if you're feeling brave. Jason Smith, who we only mentioned, a bit over ambitious last season in the Indy cars, and used that grass on the inside as a ramp almost to hit the side of Peter McCann. Then you're opening up the steering all the way to tuck in through turn number 12 and 13, in through the carousel, flat out through here. If you're not flat, you're not going quick enough, and Dylan McClements across the line.
Yeah, great. Well described, Evan. Thank you very much for that. As the 88 car crosses the line, and a little bit squirrely on next there. It is a forgiving enough track, as Evan said. Plenty of runoff here, with, as we said, Will Power with the fastest lap in the MX-5s. I'm trying to see what is the equivalent here. 134 is around a IMSA GTU around about 1989. So we're doing around the same lap times as that. Now, obviously, it could be potentially on a different track layout as well, because we aren't including the chicane on this one. But interestingly, Mid-Ohio also has a driving school, of which there have been over 50,000 graduates, including 18,500 teenagers who have all learned to drive on this this part of the world. So just goes to show you, it comes back to learning again because of this MX-5 car. This is a lot of people first kind of experience track driving, especially in the US. They're on these cars, very, very popular track cars that people have. So nice to see us go back to the roots, as we expect to go back to our roots next season. I think that the thought is that we may be going to Formula Vs for next season. Whether that's been confirmed or not, I'm not entirely sure, but there it is, it's on stream. But yeah, it's going to be a big weekend for the Vs, as we have the Leinster Trophy weekend as well in Mondello. Evan, will you be at it, and do you have any predictions for this weekend's real life racing?
I will be there on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. You will see me around the paddock somewhere, if you really want to see me, that is. As for predictions, I'm not going to say, because the last time I spoke about opinions on Formula V, I got in a bit of trouble. So not going to say opinions for the sake of journalistic integrity.
I just meant who you think might do well or do badly, but yeah, and that's fine. It sounds like you were going to come out with a far right comment there, and you stopped yourself. But no, that's a joke.
I
right.
love Formula V flags.
Okay.
More Formula V flags in Mondello.
Read into that. I'd watch you well. Kevin Joyce joins us. Thanks to Jordan Kelly as well. Speaking of Formula Vs, Jordan will be taking part in the Formula Vs this weekend.
No, I am going to say an opinion. Jordan's going to do well because it's going to rain, so his bad engine will be cancelled out.
So Jordan doesn't join us. He is actually down my part of the world. He is in the beautiful town of Clonakilty, where the saying goes that even the guards are sound. Not necessarily if they're called Eamon, but guards are sound generally. Those of you who are watching the traders this weekend and this week will know what I'm on about. And if you are, let us know what you made of what happened. But yeah, it is due to absolutely hose it down this weekend. I have a wedding on the Friday, so that's not going to be very fun. And then we have to drive home from it on the Saturday. So that's also not going to be very fun. But yeah, we'll just have to make do with the weather that God gives us. Right, that is Emma Dempsey going into the pit lane, if you are thus inclined, obviously. This goes without saying. Dylan McClements still the fastest, 135.123. Evan, that is 2/10 quicker than Ronan Darley, but I suspect with 5 minutes left on the clock, there's still time for Ronan to put in a rapid lap and to oust his cousin from the top spot.
There is, and Ronan hasn't really got a tow this session yet. He's been towing people around. He doesn't have one currently. A tow on the run from the keyhole all the way down to turn number 4, which is the longest straight in the track, is definitely a good thing. Ronan not quite utilising that yet, so unless Dylan's going to return the favour, or Sean potentially, it's usually all three of them in it together. So unless the favours are returned to Ronan and he was towing them for the start of the session, there's some sort of agreement there. We'll have to wait and see. But 0.2 of a second, quite a substantial gap for what we've seen this season in terms of the Mazdas, but not surprising at all who is on pole. Dylan McClements, an excellent job, was very quick around here in the Indy cars. Didn't really get the results until heat number 3, when we saw a very solid defensive effort that saw him win that race. So don't be surprised to see your 3 regulars up the top in terms of the Team DDR boys.
Yeah, they're very, very quick. Obviously, Sean isn't going there tonight. He is also preparing for a run at the Leinster Trophy, which he announced on his Instagram. He did give us a little bit of a sneak peek last weekend. He did say he'll have something particularly to be announced, and we saw this week that he will take part. I think that is a kind of a universally appreciated, is that the right word? I've kind of run myself into an English hole here, but I think everyone's very happy to see that. Obviously, Sean had a very scary accident in the first round of the ICCR. Great to see him back in time, and I'm sure he's working exceptionally hard on that car to get it ready for this weekend. So that'll be good to see Sean up there battling at Naas this weekend. Well, not quite Naas, but close enough to Naas. And obviously, lovely golf course. Don't know about the golf, don't know about the town. But yeah.
No, there's actually 2 golf courses. Nice. One is good, one isn't.
Well, the one that's good is the one that's called Naas Golf Course, and I don't know what the one that isn't. That's not.
The other
that's
one
not
is Craddockstown.
Oh, Craddockstown. I didn't know that was at Naas. There you go now. Yeah.
Naas Golf Club actually isn't technically in Naas, which is weird. It's everything that's wrong with this country.
Okay. So Naas is in Salads, and then the K Club is the actual one that people want to play in.
Yes, that's in Straffan. That's
Naas is.
That's above my pay grade.
No, I've played in the K Club before. I got 2
The funniest thing about this is we're having a conversation with Ronan Hederman and no one can hear him.
Yeah, I know. And Ronan quite often does this, shares his opinions and interrupts us, even though nobody else on the stream can hear him, so it doesn't actually contribute to the broadcast in any way, shape, or form. But I suppose when you're there by yourself trying to run the stream, it can be a lonely old time. So he does need a bit of company. Look at this, Dara Halley, 135.608. A smaller grid, only 18 cars on the grid, and some big runners out as well. I was going to say that, Evan, it gives a great opportunity for the likes of Dara Halley to maybe get a really good result this evening to take further on into the championship.
Yeah, it does, because that's exactly what he did in Long Beach last season in the IndyCar. It was a small grid, there was a lot of chaos, so races didn't have a lot of finishers, and he took advantage and took his first ever RTA win. So there is a huge opportunity here for some of the historical backmarkers. Dara Halley across the line, don't think it's good enough for pole. It's good enough for the second row though, and he is the only one to beat a Team DDR driver tonight. He's put it ahead of Ronan Doherty. Dara very quick in qualifying once again. He just needs to put it together in race trim. Only a minute left in qualifying, top 3 all in the pits. It's up to Ronan Doherty to improve, but he's not actually going to get the lap in. So Ronan is going to be starting in 4th position in this one, and we will have a new pole sitter unless there's a shock from somewhere down the order.
Yeah, it's going to take something quite substantial for Ronan to get around. Maybe some sort of time warp exercise. But yeah, Dylan on top, and that 35.1 stayed where it was. It was an exceptionally quick lap, to be fair. But he's ahead of his brother, Sean McClements, who I didn't think was racing today. But Sean is actually up there in second. So there you go. Just ignore everything I've said, because I've been pretty much bang off about everything I've said so far this evening.
Sean
so just ignore me.
Up on the fly.
Makes my mind up. Sorry, just ignore me. So 10 seconds left of qualifying. It looks like Dylan McClements is going to lead us out. So it's going to be a McClements 1-2, and then Dara Halley with Ronan Doherty. So 3 of the top 4 are Team DDR runners. Dara in the middle. It's going to present a great opportunity for him. Then Deirdre Toomey and Sean McGoldrick, Conor Melia, and Emma Dempsey in the top 8. Emma flying once again. She's really getting to grips with this MX-5.
She absolutely is. If you want to know about Sean McClements making up decisions on the fly, just ask Ronan Hederman about the time me and Sean walked to his house. Anyway, still McClements on pole position. Sean McClements in second. Oh, Sean McClements, Dylan McClements. Is that the first ever qualifying front row lockout they've had? Probably not, but it seems it's been a long time since it happened. Dara Halley in third, Ronan Doherty in fourth, and Dermot Toomey in fifth. Another good qualifying from Dermot. Another good qualifying from Sean McGoldrick in sixth. Conor Amelia in seventh. Then it is Emma Dempsey, Peter McCann, Evan Walsh, David Prunty, Ross Wheatley, Ken Doyle, Dave Collier, Ronan Duffy, Ollie Meredith, Phil Upson, and Danny Dempsey to round out the order. We have to show some love to Evan Walsh as well, seeing as we're talking about all the Leinster Trophy talk. Evan still battling for the Fiesta Z-Tech Rookie Championship, and he'll be out this weekend as well. So we're looking forward to seeing the Mondello Fiesta out on track.
Yeah, and it's particularly good for Evan considering it's his first year. Sorry, that was a joke that didn't land. Okay, let's have a talk through David Clement's front line. Okay, total silence from both Evan and Ronan.
Sorry, but I think my internet went because I did say something, but I also didn't get the joke either way, so it's probably better that.
Well, you said he was fighting for the rookie championship, and I said it was particularly good given it was his first year. Dylan McClements and Sean McClements lead us out in Heat 1. Nothing I'm saying today is landing, so I'm going to leave Evan Dalton take you through the beginning of what's set to be another exciting installment in the MX-5 World Series.
Police car is back at the back, you can see, and a big congratulations to Danny Dempsey, who wrapped up the Miami Cadet Championship at the weekend. So he is now a national champion, and another champion added to our RTA grid. Here we go, then it's an all McClements front row lockout, and Dylan McClements will be looking to get the launch down towards the first corner as Let's Let Battle commence here in mid-Ohio. A new green flag message at the bottom thanks to iRacing's new UI. But the same scintillating racing we're expecting here in RTA. Single file in towards turn number 1. Dylan McClements leads his brother. Not many changes. Emma Dempsey's had a poor launch actually. She's down 5 positions and we'll have to recover those down towards the keyhole. Ronan Doherty and Dara Halley are side by side. Doherty on the outside. It's difficult to go around the outside on this corner, but Ronan Doherty is going to give it a go. Dara Halley seems to have the better line, and Ronan Doherty all over the curb on the right hand side. Still side by side down towards turn number 4. Doherty in the slipstream of his teammate in front. That's going to be massively beneficial in terms of him pulling off the overtake, but the two brothers are side by side. Dylan McClements has lost the race lead to Sean due to that tow. Dylan down to second. Doherty contact with Dara Halley, and the championship leader has spun round. Number 2 facing towards the back. Disaster.
Yeah, disaster. And the way this format works, you will know the opening race has such a big impact on the rest of your evening, so that not only will scupper Ronan Doherty's first race, but it will have a huge impact on his second race as well, as Peter McCann and Evan Walsh go side by side. VRA brothers in arms. There's no love lost here between these two. Front from Leach, one Tipperary. The Munster-Leinster battle rages on, even though they're only about an hour up the road from each other on the M7. Yeah, I think that... Oh, that's contact here, but Toomey's got into Peter McCann on a very similar contact to what we saw. A little bit of a hook there. Peter McCann ends up facing the wrong way, and he falls down to the bottom of the grid. So 2 incidents we're going to try and catch up on here as we keep an eye on Sean McClements, who leads his brother into lap number 2, down into the keyhole. I was covering court today. I met quite a few people who came across quite a few people who definitely know their way around the keyhole, but I suspect these guys also know their way around this specific keyhole at Mid-Ohio Sports Course.
Yeah, Dermot Toomey, contact with Peter McCann, throwing a spanner in the works. No, sorry, thought I'd try a bad joke as well because he's sponsored by Tank Tools. Anyways, Sean McClements in the race lead still, and Dylan McClements into slipstream. We saw how powerful that slipstream was in the opening lap, and now a bit of bump drafting going on between the brothers. So Sean will still lead in towards turn number 4 here on the second lap. A good race start for Danny Dempsey, up 5 spots. Good race start for Evan Walsh as well, and Ken Doyle, who are both up 4. And obviously your biggest losers, Ronan Doherty and Peter McCann, who we saw come into contact on the opening lap.
Yeah, very unfortunate. It'll be good to go back and have a look at that Dara Halley incident with Ronan Doherty, given the impact that it could potentially have on this championship. It's hard to see whether Halley didn't give Doherty was leading into the corner, but did he cut across the front of Halley, or did Halley he's a little bit too ambitious going into the corner? We would like to see that again if it's possible, and it is possible with the RTA MX-5 World Series, not Championship replay. Let's have a look at this one now. You're focusing on the 2 cars in behind, not the McClements brothers in front. We're having a look at Ronan Doherty here. Comes in from the side. And it looks like a racing incident to me, Evan. I have to say the two cars were side by side going into the corner, and I think Ronan just didn't give Dara enough space.
Yeah, I would say racing incident. It's almost as if Ronan turned across Dara a little bit, maybe thought he was a little bit ahead, but Dara still kept the nose in. I certainly wouldn't be investigating Dara for it anyways. Seemed like he just was there at the wrong place at the wrong time for Ronan Doherty. But here is the top two once again. Harris still sitting pretty in third, and keeping with this front two as they pull away from Sean McGoldrick. Sean McGoldrick is running steady in fourth spot as well and is looking to make amends for a dismal Donington Park. Dylan doesn't go for the race lead. Sean remains there, and they are as they were for the time being. Dave Collier getting past Ross Wheatley. Dave, leader of the B Series, looking to challenge with his B Series title rival, Emma Dempsey.
Yeah, and Emma unfortunately has fallen down from her 8th start, but she actually has regained some back. So was down in, I'm going to say 12th or 13th. She's now back up to 10th. Ronan Doherty's already made up 6 places. He's down 9 now to 13. And Peter McCann overtaking Danny Dempsey, who isn't having a great outing this evening. Danny maybe just recovering a little bit after his escapades in Kiltorkin Raceway last weekend in Kilkenny. Looked like a wet one, Evan. There, but Danny mastering the wet to become a national champion. Unfortunately, this evening the dry conditions aren't suiting him as well. Sean McClemens leading out Dylan. Now, Dylan obviously has his eyes on the championship title, but so does Sean at this stage. I think Sean's well up there for a shout, and I think it's going to be hard. I don't think one brother is going to leave another one by too easily. We're going to maybe see more Oasis, for the last 25 years as opposed to Oasis in the last 6 months.
Todd actually has a photo of his even younger brother, who looking very like Liam Gallagher. It's quite funny to make that joke. But funnily enough, Kevin, our broadcast's actually very well known in the karting paddocks. So it came up to me and goes, "You're the guy from RTA," and it's the only time I've felt like a celebrity. Anyways, here's Dylan McClements looking for the race lead. Once again, not going to go for it over the halfway point through the race. Interesting you bring up Kiltorkin and karting. I'm going to take any opportunity to talk about it while I can. Just reading the stream chat, good to see Peter Brett rooting for Dermot Toomey. Dermot racing at the weekend, as was Peter, but Peter Brett, someone who we need to try get on the Sims to win his first race kart podium. He held off Tillotson world champion Noah Rosser a few weeks ago. So Peter, get yourself a simulator from the Sim Consultants and get yourself in RTA. Good to see our Lord and Saviour Rob Parks watching as well for the first time in a while.
Yeah, Rob with the superb shout. Only fair outcome is to give Peter a 30-point penalty. That's kind of like 10 seconds for Ocon, really, isn't it? At this point, it's just whatever it is. Just give Peter a 30-point penalty. But yeah, I suspect it's a bit of a racing incident, as others have agreed, including Johnny Hollywood on the chat. Speaking of Kiltorkin, I got the opportunity to race it myself only a couple of weeks ago as part of a stag do, and really enjoyed it. Like, we have some lovely karting tracks. Obviously, we have Watergrass Hill in Cork, which is superb, and we have the indoor track at the Breda as Dara Halley goes for a move down the Clements. He tried this earlier on Ronan Doherty, not exactly in the same spot, but much cleaner this time from the 802 car as he gets past Dylan McClemens. So Dylan's going to try and get him on the switchback. That's going to happen. Now, here is Mr. Off the Wall, David Prunty, as he tries to go battling. We go back to the front with Dara Halley. Our broadcast director seems to have Tourette's at the moment, so we're trying to keep up with more than one battle at any given time. Dara losing out on that spot to Dylan McClemens, who's overtook him on the wrong spot, and Dylan using the slipstream to get back past Dara, who will have to bide his time as we head into the final 2.5 minutes of this opening heat. Now let's go back and have a look at what's happening with David Prunty, because he was involved in a very battle there with himself, Dermot Toomey, then Ken Doyle all getting involved. Here is David. Oh, that is Dermot Toomey. I've just put the kibosh on him, and does manage to get the rejoin done. Not overly. I imagine he put the frighteners there on Dave Collier, who just passed him, but Dermot did manage to rejoin safely, and as you say, certainly you would say, I would say if that rejoin was worse, I would have called him a tool without the box. But certainly, Dermot, that was a much better rejoin than some of what we've seen on this series. So, bull boss there for Dermot. Right, Sean McCoulter getting a bump draft from Conor Mealy as they try and get closer to Dara Halley for those podium positions. I suspect it's going to be exceptionally difficult for Sean that time. barring a mistake from one of the top three. So it's probably going to be on Conor Mealy to try and make a move on Sean McGoldrick, but it really is a matter of when around this track, because as we saw earlier, you can get past somebody, as Dara Halley did, into the keyhole last time, but if you don't have the slipstream, you're just going to be overtaken once again.
Yes, you are just going to be overtaken, and let's see, can Dara Halley have another go at Dylan McClements down towards the right-hander, number 802 versus number 88, and Dylan McClements is going to defend to the inside here. His brother not helping him with the toe. McClements defensive, Halley not able to pull off the move, Conor Mealy not able to pull off the move on Sean McGoldrick as well, but the top five go snaking around sector number 2, and we're going to have one more lap at this one.
Yeah, Ronan Doherty into 9th place, and we will have one more lap, which wasn't expected, actually, to be honest. I thought we were going to find it difficult, but we will have another lap here around mid-Ohio. So 7 laps in total. Sean McGoldrick goes for a move around the inside of Dara Halley, and a great move from McGoldrick. Last minute, sold him a dream, as Evan Dalton would say, and manages to get past. But Dara Halley's going to have the inside. He's going to be battling with Conor Mealy, though. It's all a little bit tight, and I was afraid there the two might come together. Very hard to get a sense of perspective from those static camera shots, but thankfully no contact between those two, and the race goes on. But Dara Halley now pushed out of the podium spaces. Superb move from Sean McGoldrick. A very late one, but one time to perfection from the 15 car.
Yeah, one time for perfection, and Conor Mealy is challenging Dara Halley now. I'm secretly chuffed to use one of my phrases, Kevin. I'll send you the Revolut later. But anyways, the top two are battling as well, and is Dylan McClements going to snatch the race win off his brother? We'll wait and see. Big lunge from Dara Halley down the inside. He's looking for an RTA podium, and Dara Halley has not pulled it off. There's contact between the two, and Halley has been pit manoeuvred a little bit, and that is very unfortunate. Such an unfortunate end for Dara Halley, who was running very strong. He was on the podium in Heat 2 in Lime Rock. Won't be able to repeat it here in Heat 1 in mid-Ohio. Dylan McClements has not got past his brother for the race lead, and Sean will remain. Let's have a look at the Gantry TV replay.
Yeah, there's Halley going down the inside of McGoldrick, and he stays ahead of him, but yeah, he did get pit manoeuvred by Sean McGoldrick. There was a phrasing used in yesterday's Traders, two bulls sharing the one field, and that's kind of what it felt like. Neither of them wanted to let up. Certainly Sean McGoldrick wasn't going to take his foot off the accelerator, and unfortunately that shoved him into the side of Sean McGoldrick and shoved him around. But no such problem for fella Sean McClements, who is looking to take is this his first race win of this championship season, Evan Dalton?
It absolutely is. It's his first race win since F4's, his first win in 3 seasons. Bodes nicely to the weekend ahead. Sean McClements leads home his brother on the podium, and Conor Mealy comes home in 3rd spot, a second back. Inherits the podium on the last lap. A job well done by Mealy, and McGoldrick in 4th. Evan Walsh, strong result in 5th, and we didn't speak about it much because of all that went on. What a fight back for Ronan Doherty to 6th. He's kept himself in win contention for the final 2 heats.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about it, could very, very. Oh, that's a bit of contact there between Ross Wheatley and somebody after the fact. That's going to be an unnecessary 4X, but obviously no safety rate. Worry too much about it. But yeah, superb work from Ronan Doherty. When we saw him being spun out into last place, and like you look at Peter McCann, who just after him found himself in the same position. Peter could only get back up into 13th, and Peter's an exceptionally fast driver. Then you see Ronan making the ground that he has, so that's a superb piece of work from the Team DDR driver after what was a very disappointing start to the race in what has been overall a good evening for the Antrim team thus far.
Yes, very good for the Antrim team. Sean McClements, your race winner. Dylan McClements in 2nd, Conor Mealy in 3rd. And it was Sean McGoldrick, Evan Walsh, Ronan Doherty, David Prunty, Ken Doyle, Emma Dempsey, Dara Halley, Dave Collier, Dermot Toomey, Peter McCann, Ollie Meredith, Phil Upson, Ronan Duffy, Ross Wheatley and Danny Dempsey to round out the order. And that is your grid for heat number 2.
Yeah, that is the grid as we get going for this second heat. Gonna be an absolutely fascinating one to see whether Ronan Doherty can catch up with his Team DDR teammates, or will Sean McGoldrick and Conor Mealy keep them out of the podium standings.
Let's have a look then as 3 red lights, 4, 5 come on, and it is green flag, and Sean McClements is away. Good start for Dylan, good start for Ronan Duffy at the back, who's already up 2 positions, so he's got in front of the row ahead of him. There'll be single file for the top 3. Once again, another good launch by the number 14, who's not exactly known for his race starts, but it is a good launch nonetheless. He is under pressure from Dylan McClements behind, though, in towards the hairpin, and let's see, is he going to lunge it down the inside and go for the early move? He's looked for it, but not able to take it. Good starts around the field. Danny Dempsey up 3, but battling with Ross Wheatley. Dara Halley up 2, looking to make amends from that spin.
Yeah, Dara's very smarting after what happened in that final race. Really should podium only for that instant with Sean McGoldrick. I'm just looking to see if as that has been reported, as Conor Melia has a look, just puts himself in the mirrors of Dylan McClements, just to keep him pretty honest, as Evan Walsh hovering in the background looking for an opportunity. There's Dave Collier going down the inside of Peter McCann, trying to move around the outside, but didn't quite work for Peter, the Clonslee native, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think I am. Clonslee, there you go. Thanks to our resident. Well, I was going to say he's not a resident Kildare man, because both of you are from Kildare, so we have a very Kildare heavy commentary team here. Sean McClements leading these out again, and look at Ronan Darty. He's already up 1 place as it stands, and he's putting all kinds of pressure on Sean McGoldrick, who had an incident in the last race. He's obviously going to be trying to avoid that if he can, in the Monster sponsored number 15 machine. But Ronan, you can clearly see, Evan, that he has serious pace around here, and I'd be very surprised if he didn't find himself in podium positions by the time the checker flag waves, as Danny Dempsey, Phil Upson and Ross Wheatley have gone to the pits. I wonder, was there an incident there?
Yeah, they're all gone into the pit lane. 2 of them have the mechanical flag, which would make me think there was some contact. Someone very wide. It was Evan Walsh, who's gone drifting through the grass and now has to defend from Dara Halley, Ken Doyle, all behind. Ronan Doherty down the inside of Sean McGoldrick. Easy as you like. He's up to 4th. Kevin, I agree with you totally. Absolutely no chance he's off the podium in this one on pace. It all depends if he can keep things clean. Sean McGoldrick, though, is going to have a fight back here and try and retake position on the 3-4 time runner-up now, or whatever Ronan Doherty is. Not going to be able to get past for now, though. Evan Walsh has successfully defended from David Prunty as well.
Yeah, and Dara Halley couldn't quite get in there as well. I thought he was going to try and sneak past as Dara Halley, as he tries a little bit of an ambitious move there on David Prunty, but pulls out of it. If I'm Sean McGoldrick in this situation, I'm not going to overtake Ronan Doherty. He very clearly has much bigger pace. All I want to do is follow him, follow his lines, pace, and try and see if I can pull myself into that battle as well, and then just hang out and wait for these guys to potentially have a mistake, because look, you know that when these guys battle so closely, there's always an opportunity for things to go a little bit Pete Tong, and that's when your opportunity for you to overtake will arrive. So if I'm Sean McGoldrick, I'm just using Ronan Doherty as a bit of a buffer here, get a bit of a slipstream, copy his lines, try and keep the overall race lap pace up, and then see what happens later on in the race, and no doubt there will be an opportunity to strike as others start to battle themselves. Now here's Dylan McClements with the side of his cousin behind him. He thought he'd seen the back of him after that earlier incident in race number 1, but he's back with a vengeance as the car comes out of the pits. I think that is Ross Wheatley rejoining, if I'm right in saying, and Ross better get out of the way here, because he is on the racing line as he comes slowly, but just stay slow enough for those guys to get around him relatively comfortably. Let's have a look at an RTA replay. What are we having a look at here now? This is Dave Collier in the number 20 machine, and Dave looks like he's carrying too much speed into this one, and he does catch a corner there and then goes around. Oh, and that's some good defensive work there from, I think that's Evan Walsh behind him and Dermot Toomey behind him. It could be Peter McCann though behind him. I'm not sure. We'll have to have a look at the standings, but it looked like Dave just carried too much speed there, and the traction was already running out of him to make that right-hander.
Yeah, spun it 360 or whatever Ronan Doherty always says to us in the interviews, and that is disappointing for Dave. And yeah, an unforced error, which is not really what you want in this Mazdas, because it's hard to catch up unless your name is this man, Ronan Doherty, who proved us wrong in heat number 1. He's looking to get ahead of Dylan McClements, who is not really making inroads on Conor Melia. He's having to defend. So Ronan clearly with the pace here. Ronan Doherty round again! Round again goes Doherty, and that one totally his fault. No contact made between the two. Ran on the marbles, the dirty part of the track, and he's gone back to the back again.
Oh, what a frustrating one for Ronan Doherty after all that work to get himself back in the running at the front. As a mistake, it's one thing if you get pushed around by somebody else, but a mistake of your own accord is so frustrating. Ronan Doherty, as now we see Dylan going down the inside of Conor Melia. Is he going to get that move done? They are side by side. Melia is on the outside. He's going to be on the dirty line. And McClements comes through, back up with his brother now into second position. So Dylan McClements leading here in the 46 number sponsored 488 car, which isn't confusing at all and still hasn't been changed. Conor Melia tries to exert some pressure again on both McClements brothers as they bunch up here now as we head down into turn number 4, I'm going to say, down towards China Beach, which sounds like a type of wood you would get on an office furniture, but is indeed turns 4, 5 and 6 that the drivers are currently going through now.
Yeah, sounds like a bad paint colour as well, potentially, as Conor Melia and Dylan McClements side by side. McClements forced to the outside here, but he'll have the inside for the next section of the corner. Melia lucky there's a curve there. He didn't have to run along the grass. He's lost out in that one, and Dylan McClements is ahead. This is an opportunity now for Sean to break the toe in front and potentially pull away from the field of Mazdas that snaked their way behind. There was definitely an incident between Ross Wheatley and Danny Dempsey on the opening lap. It has been reported, so stewards will be taking a look at that one. But 8, 9 tenths of a second separating McClements and Melia, and it looked like Melia was almost looking for it into the final corner. This is going to be a good battle between the 88 and the 56 by the looks of things as they snake their way through turn number 1.
Yeah, Dylan definitely being kept on his toes over the course of this evening, with brother Sean now starting to pull away there. China Beach, oh, that's Evan Walsh going wide again on that opening corner. He's first struggling with that corner as Evan Walsh, and Dara Halley be licking his lips looking at that. China Beach also sounds like what your grandparents would have called opium back in the day. But that's neither here nor there. Conor Melia in third position.
That is by far the most random statement we've ever had on Gantry TV, and that's impressive. That's a high bar to beat.
Or a low bar, depending on what your standard is. Here's Dara Halley going for a move down the inside of Walsh, and there's contact, and ooh, very tight there, and Evan is coming back, and he's going to say, oh, excuse me. Evan Walsh is a Tipperary man as well, used to a hip and shoulder in the sporting arena, and is not afraid to dish it back, so he gets back ahead of Dara Halley. A bit of an ambitious move there. Well, not so much ambitious from Halley, but couldn't quite make it stick, Evan.
Yeah, Dara Halley is like the plot of the F1 movie. His car is definitely built for contact and lunges into the side of Evan Walsh. All is fair in love and war, I suppose. Walsh didn't go off the circuit and gave it back just as good as he got it, so he will continue, and he is currently still in 5th position. Sean not able to break the toe, unfortunately, and now he has his brother parked up right behind him again with 7 minutes to go in this one. It's been a very entertaining heat so far, and by no means over.
Yeah, if the F1 movie is like every other B-rate motorsport movie I've ever seen, all he needs to do is drop a gear, and he'll gain an extra 50 horsepower. Right, Kevin
gear
Doyle is
and
coming
disappear
back
by.
That's it. Here is Sean McClements, who is certainly not dropping anybody. He's only 3 tenths of a second ahead of his brother Dylan, who has Conor Melia behind him. So we have a straight shootout here for the top 4 positions, because Dara Halley's a good bit behind Sean McGoldrick now, Sean has very much kept himself within the running. And what can we say about that man who was on screen before, once again, about a Torres hit Ronan Hederman, and we switch back to the front of the pack. What can we say about Ronan Doherty? What a disappointing evening it's been for him, Evan, and to have worked that hard to get yourself back into the places only to undo yourself with a bad mistake. He must be kicking himself, because no doubt this is the end of his championship lead, albeit probably temporarily.
Reeks of a drop round. That's what I'm getting from this. It's not been a good evening for Ronan Doherty so far. The only thing is he's only 5-ish seconds off reverse grid pole, so that is a saving grace. But with the way he's been making errors tonight, you wouldn't fancy him for the race win in the feature, and that feels disgusting coming out of my mouth speaking about Ronan Doherty like that, who's been so impressive in RTA time and time again. But it's been a rare evening of mistakes for Ronan. We usually get these from championship leaders the odd time. I remember Jordan once, when he was leading the Super Formula Lights, had a disaster in the Nürburgring. I think Ronan has before. It's just been one of them nights. it's not going to be frequent, so the others have to try capitalise on that.
Yeah, perhaps Ronan's just a little bit distracted this week, so he might have something on his mind, and just not really able to give the same kind of commitment to racing this week virtually. Anyway, here is Sean Clements leading the top four. It is very nip and tuck here between these four, and they're almost like one big car slinky going through the keyhole and down the front straight. 4 minutes left, 4.5 minutes left. I suspect the likes of Sean McGoldrick and Conor Mealy might try and force the issue here a little bit more as we head into the last couple of laps.
Oh, here's Conor Mealy trying it around the outside, but he's got a little bit out of shape. Has to catch this slide, and that's going to allow Sean McGoldrick to get past, to quote traders once again. He just didn't have the Lee Road E, unfortunately, to go around the outside to Dylan McClements there. And that has dropped him down to fourth. But he was in fifth heading into the last lap of the first heat and ended up on the podium. So it's all not over for Conor just yet. And he has a good save for the highlight reel at least.
Yeah, you have to be, in fairness to Conor, you have to give it to him. There's going to be somebody trying to go around the outside, because it's going to take something to beat this tow. Obviously, Sean is just rapid this evening and really comfortable with this track, so he's not having to defend too much as well. But Dylan behind him, Dylan isn't being overly aggressive either, putting himself in his mirrors. So it's going to take something from Messrs McGoldrick and Melia to topple the two McClements. And as you said, Evan, it's a good day to have your last name beginning with M, because our top four all begin with that letter. David Prunty currently in 8th position. He will be starting on grid pole as things stand. A good gap between himself and Mitchelstown's own Diarmuid Toomey. I'll be obviously silently rooting for the Corkman to get back into the top 8, but he's having to fend off an Antrim man who is very clearly quick around the circuit, but just hasn't happened for him this evening. So it looks like David Prunty might be time for Ronan to get in and put a bit of pressure on David Prunty, but we'll have to wait and see as Ronan Duffy is in 12th position.
Here's Ronan Duffy late on the brakes past Diarmuid Toomey. He's now one spot off that reverse grid pole. Conor Mealy back past Sean McGoldrick, and he is back on the podium. Good pace tonight for Conor, and his fastest lap not as quick as the two McClements brothers. Sorry, no, I stand corrected. His fastest lap is quicker than Dylan McClements's. Not quick. No, I'm a total liar. It's quicker than both of them, so just forget that this last segment happened. Yeah, I knew Ronan and Hederman was going to prove me wrong anyway, so I just said I'd rather go for the grovelling. With 2 minutes to go, it is faster than the two in front, and Conor Mealy clearly has pace here tonight in the number 56. Sean will be secretly hoping that back marker, which I believe is Phil Upson, can give him a bit of a slipstream sooner rather than later, because I think he's going to need it.
Yeah, but like that old Chinese proverb, if Ronan Hederman speaks in your ear and nobody else can hear him, does it actually matter? Right, Sean McClements, Dylan behind him, out the front, and Conor Mealy trying to move around the outside, can't quite get that done, but she's going to invite now Sean McGoldrick to come back inside. So McGoldrick and Mealy going side by side down the back straight, but McGoldrick should have the better run. But it looks like Mealy is profiting a little bit from that side draft, but Sean McGoldrick's going to have the inside in for the next corner. Dylan McClements just swinging out a little bit ahead of Sean McClements, who can see a back marker behind him. That's not what you want to see as they barrel down in towards the aforementioned China Beach section. Conor having to pull out a little bit to allow Sean go by without risking a penalty. And now Dara Halley is getting involved in the fight. So all of this messing about has gapped these two guys away from the McClements brothers and back into the clutches of Dara Halley, who will feel like he has something to make up for after the way the last race finished. That is I can't see what the number is on that actually. That's it's just flying. It's Phil Upson. So Phil, I thought I saw 10, all right, but then I couldn't see it on the standings. Phil Upson in 15th place. He is a back marker, and he would be best advised to get the hell out of the way and allow these guys continue their battle on the final lap after what has been an absolutely enthralling battle. Sean was going to go down that line to try and fend off Dylan, but with Phil rather, what would I say, cleverly maybe taking the inside line, letting these guys by, that closed the door on him So he couldn't quite shake off Dylan McClements as we head into what's going to inevitably our final lap. Evan, it's very, very tight here. And it looks like Sean McGoldrick and Conor Mealy are going to have a right ding-dong battle here as we head into the final lap.
Yeah, as far as sportsmanship goes, I'd say Phil Upson is one of the top on the service, let alone RTA. As Dylan McClements is looking for the race lead. That gap is closing. It's closing down towards China Beach. And is he going to be overly aggressive and go for the move on his brother and his teammate here? No, he isn't. Tucking into the slipstream. Dylan playing wingman here tonight. Sean McGoldrick is in third still. Conor Mealy not able to get past. So unless that toe just wasn't as powerful as we suspect, Sean McGoldrick pushing Dylan McClements in through the corners though, and Conor Mealy will be hoping that contact is made and he can swoop into second position. But as they head in towards Thunder Valley for the final time, this will be the last lap of the race. Checkered flag is ready and waiting for Sean McClements, well, for Sean McGoldrick as well, but Sean McClements in the race lead. Dara Halley that little bit too far back, and unless there is someone who fancies an audacious lunge down the inside, it's going to remain as this. Dylan, he's looking for it. He was latest to the brakes of the top two, but it is just going to be enough for Sean McClements once he gets the power down out of the final corner. It's going to be 2 from 2. They say when one bus doesn't arrive, then 2 arrive all of a sudden. When one win wouldn't come for Sean, 2 has arrived all of a sudden, like he always has done. Dylan McClements in second, Sean McGoldrick in third, and oh, look at this, side by side for the reverse grid front row. Ronan Doherty gets the 2 points, Peter McCann gets the reverse pole.
Yeah, Ronan Doherty sneaking in past Peter McCann there at the last minute by the smallest of margins. He doesn't start on, he does get the extra points, and he will be gunning for a race 3 win. That's incredible from Ronan Doherty, given the fact that he was out and then in and then out. He's in and out more than a hokey cokey dancer, but he's certainly in with a shout for the final race, as the police, as in their usual fashion, are pace of anybody committing an actual crime, and will finish last in this one. Danny Dempsey unfortunately living up to his livery there with his pace. Very, very interesting couple of races. I was going to say that Dylan McClements' attack was probably going to be the best form of defence because he could have fought the shot clutches of Sean McGoldrick. But we do have both McClements brothers and Sean McGoldrick will be joining Evan in the commentary box.
Yeah, so full run through the order first. It is Sean McClements, your race winner. Dylan McClements in second. Sean McGoldrick in third. Then it is Conor Mealy in fourth, ahead of Dara Halley, Evan Walsh, Ronan Doherty, Peter McCann, David Prunty, Dermot Toomey, Ollie Merritt, Dave Collier, Ron Duffy, Emma Dempsey, Phil Upson, Ross Wheatley, Ken Doyle, and Danny Dempsey. Right, let's have some interviews then. And first up, your double race winner, Sean McClements. Sean, a big welcome back to the interview room. First question, are you feeling okay?
Alright.
Have you checked the temperature? Because there must be some disease some disease has infiltrated your family, because you are the quickest of the bunch.
Seems to be, yeah. It's just the petty Dylan's actually my sim tonight, and I'm on hit. No, I don't know. It's mad. I only got maybe 20-25 minutes practice before the race. Because I was out working in the car and then came in and had to do the update, so didn't really get much practice. But here, I'll not complain.
Yeah, I suppose it's the right week for you to become an actual racing driver, given what's coming up this weekend. But sticking with RTA first and foremost, how are you finding this master around Mid-Ohio? Because it seems to be a bit of a match made in heaven.
She's alright actually, to be fair. Once you get in a sort of later stage of them races, you can feel your rear tire start to go a bit. So, but apart from that, they're good crack. In fairness, like it's nice. It's a bit of a roller coaster this track, so it suits these cars well.
Now, you have actually gone pole to win, front row to win in the first heat and then pole to win in the second heat, so not much overtaking. You start 8th now, and of course, Ronan is on the front row, being very quick. What is the expectations for heat 3?
Just stand there on, see what happens. I'm not going to put any real pressure on myself saying I have to win it, because I won the other 2, because in fairness, I got them pretty handy, thanks to Dalton. So, look, I'm starting 8th. See what we can do. It'll be a big slipstream fest, I'd say, anyway, so see what happens.
Well, Sean, best of luck and no pressure, but you could achieve your biggest RTA career achievement to date tonight with 3 wins in an evening, so best of luck with that.
Thanks a million, Evan. Sure, hopefully chat to you after.
Now moving on to the other brother, Dylan McClements. Kevin, I think you want me to continue on, do you? Ah, well, we will anyways. Dylan, congratulations, 2 from 2. Rear gunner this evening to Sean, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with my pace. I'm happy that I was winning, and I just felt like it was a bit too risky to send it. And I suppose I would, if it was anyone else, I probably would have sent it. But Sean, I gave him the win. Well, not giving him, I helped him get the win basically, and it's a good result for the McClement family.
Yeah, in terms of the championship, you're competing with Connor and Ronan, at least for now. Big points over Ronan and points over Connor as well. Despite the 2 wins last week, it was difficult to get points over them because they are also so quick. So how are you feeling about this evening, points-wise, so far?
Well, points wise, I mean, I've got a big gain, so the first couple of rounds I was a bit down on points because of incidents and stuff. So hopefully I'll catch back up to them and have a good title fight.
Heat 3, what's the expectations?
I would say at least a podium, maybe a win because I know my pace is good. But I have to work my way through the field.
Dylan, best of luck for heat number 3.
Cheers.
And now I think we just have enough time to squeeze in Sean McGoldrick, and I'm glad we do because it's been a great evening for Sean so far. Sean, welcome. Some pace out there tonight. How are you finding the car?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think I've had good pace the last couple of weeks, but I've just had disastrous races, most of which were my own fault. So, yeah, the car feels really good.
Yeah, you got pole last week, and it's going well here in mid-Ohio. Is this been one of your favourite championships so far?
Yeah, I think I was really set to enjoy the IndyCar Championship, but it was just too hot here. I've got a small room and big triple screens, and I just couldn't race. So it's nice to be back.
In terms of heat number 3, then, do we have maybe a Sean McGoldrick win on the cards?
I'd be happy with another podium, another top 4, top 5, because I've had so many where I haven't put 3 consecutive races together. So, my plan is just to keep it clean.
Well, Sean, everyone at home and ourselves rooting for those 3 good races in a row. So best of luck for the feature race.
Thank you.
So good to hear from our podium ahead of heat number 3. Kevin, I believe you dug deep with the journalist eye once again, and you're sensing some tension in the McClements household?
Yeah, I mean, just feeling a little bit of, just picked up something that Dylan said there. He said he'd send it on anybody apart from Sean. I wonder, I know he's saying that because it's his brother, but I wonder, does he just have a little bit more faith in running with some of the other guys apart from Sean? But yeah, we'll see how it plays out over the course of the season, but potentially tension in the DDR ranks. Now, speaking
Maybe
of...
one of them's a traitor.
Well, that may be true. But
I thought that was funny. I don't really know why.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so. But anyway, let's
Airball.
get Evan doing what he's better at doing, and reading out the standings or the starters race of this evening.
Yeah, just back into my corner of reading race results. Aw, disappointing. Peter McCann on pole, Ronan Doherty in second, Evan Walsh in third. Dara Halley will start from fourth ahead of Conor Melia and Sean McGoldrick. And that will be that for running through the order because it's time to go racing. 5 red lights are on, and for the final time this evening, let's let battle go ahead at Mid-Ohio as Peter McCann. Good start. It's been a good start from everyone on the pole tonight. Ronan Doherty in second will look to challenge down towards the keyhole at turn number 2. Evan Walsh is in third spot and has got ahead of Dara Halley. Good start for Walsh. Dylan getting ahead of Sean McGoldrick as well. He's up to 6th position. That's now both McClements ahead of Sean McGoldrick. McCann still leads. No lunge from Doherty. I imagine that'll come in turn 4.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time that Ronan tries to up the ante here because this is his last chance as Evan Walsh gets very squarely on the outside, as does the number 14 car of Sean McClements. That's unusual for McClements. An unusual mistake this evening from the 14 car who started in 8th. He's dropped the position now thanks to some of those off-road antics as it is a VRA 1 and 3. So VRA are the new Team DDR because they seem to be occupying the podium standings at least for the moment. This Dara Halley, Dylan McClements and Conor Melia battle rages on. We've seen this all the way. As there's a little bit of a touch there, that'll make 19 car go quietly squirrely. That's Evan Walton. Clonmel native. Oh, that's Dave Collier arriving on the scene. There's nothing Collier could do. And he probably shouldn't have pulled out in front of all those arriving cars as well. As Dave cannot see with his front bumper. He gives a touch into Ross Wheatley for good measure. And he will be spending the rest of this evening, as will Evan Walsh in the pits. I suspect those guys might be joining us in the comment section later on. Right, Peter McCann has tried to hold off Ronan Darty, but I wonder, has Ronan got the job done there in the switchback? He's got the switchback done on McCann, and he's gone down the inside. That's a great move from the number 2 car on one of our glorious leaders. They all do a spot of greenkeeping here around the exit of turn 1, and Dylan McClements trying to put pressure on Conor Melia, who currently occupies a 3rd position. Very, very tight though between those guys, as once again Peter McCann fighting back. He's not going to give this one up without a fight, and we saw the two of them go hip and shoulder across the line in the last race. They've picked up where they've left off, and Peter is just touching the side of Ronan Darty and a little bit squirrely, and he frightens the life out of Darty. I'm not sure whether that was neck out or whether Ronan just had a brown trousers moment, but he certainly pulled out faster than, well, I'm not going to finish that sentence actually, I can't go anywhere good, but manages to retake the lead, does Peter McCann, as Ronan Darty. Oh, that's Dylan McClements going down the inside of Conor Melia, and it looks like Dylan has he got the job done. Melia's back on the inside. Is there a touch? No, there isn't. They managed to keep it clean, but Dara Halley comes down the inside, and now he gets ahead of Conor Melia as they head over the top of Thunder Valley. Dara Halley in 4th position now at the moment. Conor Melia dropping from 3rd down to 5th. It's all moving and shaking in the early parts of this final race.
Yeah, Peter McCann was very much looking forward to side-by-side throughout the whole lap, and he's got a full lap almost with Ronan Darty side-by-side, but unfortunately he is now in 2nd place, and Ronan Darty is going to scamper up the road to try and pull a gap. It is Darty, McCann, McClements, Halley, Melia, McGoldrick, McClements, Ken Doyle then rounding out the top 8 with good friends Meredith and Dempsey 9th and 10th. Disappointing race so far for Emma Dempsey, who's just picked up a slowdown there. She said she was having some clutch issues after the update. Danny Dempsey pushes Ollie Meredith off the circuit, and Meredith falling behind Toomey and Prunty, so the 2 other teammates in the field, some tension there as well. But Dara Halley and Conor Melia now side by side. Melia has the tow from Dylan McClements in front, so he's going to be able to utilise that. But look at Sean McGoldrick getting the tow from Conor Melia and pushing him down the straight in towards China Beach. Look at the front 2 go at it again. It's a full test of commitment from Peter McCann, who goes side by side with the championship leader coming into this evening. This is going to invite Dylan McClements into the fray as well, and see can he overtake Peter. The 2 Team DDR teammates accidentally working together, I feel. McCann going to have the outside line through here, but that crucially sweeps into the inside for a very important corner on this mid-Ohio circuit. Still Dylan McClements on the outside. Full commitment from the IndyCar champion. That is a beauty of a move. Conor Melia is going to try get past Peter McCann as well and just wipe McCann's podium chances out the window altogether. Sean McClements is involved in the fight now as well. He's down the inside of Dara Halley, and Conor Melia completes it into the carousel. What a bit of racing from the top 4.
Yeah, superb stuff, and I can be sure that Peter McCann would have really enjoyed that move from Dylan McClements, but then a little bit too tentative, I think, from McCann, allowing Melia to go down the inside and himself to the outside, which obviously, as we've seen, very little traction out there, and opening the door then almost for Sean McGoldrick to have an attack, excuse me. So very, very, very tight here, and one little mistake can make all the difference as McGoldrick goes deep into the keyhole. Can he survive? Yes, he does. He's unlocked 4th position, and with Dara Halley in the background as well, trying to push him through, but these will once again go side by side. Peter McCann has been side by side down the back straight of all 4 laps thus far, and let's see what happens as we head in towards China Beach. And Sean McClements is in the background there. As we said, 2 race wins so far for McClements. He just needs a good solid position to round out. He's tried to swap down the inside. Can he do a Lewis Hamilton in Silverstone, do a 3 person overtaking the one corner, not quite, as Peter McCann holds on to his position, and everything is as you were just about, as these four guys very, very close together as we head into the 6th minute of what's already been a fascinating final race, and a 20-minute race, Evan, but these guys aren't hanging around to try and get the job done early.
Yeah, they are not hanging around. They want the positions early, just like Ronan's already got ahead of Peter McCann and has been able to pull away. Dylan got the move done early, was able to pull away. Connor looking to do similar. And Peter McCann is unfortunately the cork in the bottle here. Sean McGoldrick in 5th, Halley in 6th, and then Sean McClements in 7th, who tried a move around the outside of all three of them, I think, but wasn't able to get any spots. Some other movers and shakers: Danny Dempsey up 8th positions, Ken Doyle up 9. So this is going to make a good video on Ken Doyle's YouTube channel, just to give Ken a shout out as well, because his RTA videos are genuinely brilliant. You should really check them out if you do enjoy watching RTA content. He's currently battling with Toomey and Dempsey and Prunty as well.
Oh, tight between Halley and McGoldrick. I thought McGoldrick was going to get spun around there. A bit of a taste of his own medicine, and no love lost between these two. Remember, in the opening race, McGoldrick sending Halley around, which sent both of them out of the podium places. So you can be sure that Darrow wasn't going to pull out of that one. I thought he might be returning the favour there, Sean.
Yeah, thought he was going to return the favour. Sean McGoldrick, as we were speaking to him, just wants a good race in Heat 3. Halley down the inside. It's the Dara dive bomb. Once again, it's a turn number 4. He pulled one off earlier on. Well, almost pulled it off on Evan Walsh. He's pulled one off on Sean McGoldrick. And here's Sean McClements, who's made contact with McGoldrick. And that is disastrous for the two. It's a bit of a silly move from our star performer this evening. And unfortunately, he sent down the order.
Yeah, and we talked there just about earlier about, you know, it's been a good evening for Sean McClements as it is. He's got 2 race wins, so he just needs a strong finish, final race, give him that extra backing up of points for what will undoubtedly be a race weekend he will use for championship. But that was just a clumsy move, I think, from the one of the boys from Dunloy, as that's another clumsy one as Diarmid hip and shoulders. He'll be certainly getting penalty points from that one, as he careers into Danny Dempsey, and in turn he smashes into a young Ollie Meredith. Fortunately, the two Carters come together, but not really either of their faults, as Halley once again gets the elbows out here, this time on Peter McCann, as the two of them rub tyres, and Halley goes through. Certain no conservativeness here. Dara Halley, he on a mission. It would be good to have a look at that instant when we get a chance. So there's a little bit of a lull, not quite now, but when there's a bit of a lull on that move involving McClements and Sean McGoldrick, because McGoldrick was having a great evening, and certainly in the running for the driver of the day, in my mind. So very unfortunate there. It'll be interesting to see what happens, whether that will influence the overall vote. Dylan McClements putting all kinds of pressure on his cousin Ronan Doherty. Remember, these two guys might be cousins, it might be in the family, but they are fighting for a championship, as Conor Mealy has had a great evening as well. Conor's been right in the thick of things. It's had some really good results too, so potential outside shout for driver of the day as well. Maybe we get an opportunity, Ronan, to have a look at that incident between Sean McClements and Sean McGoldrick. Evan, I'd be very interested to see what you make of this, but in first viewing it looked like it was a clumsy one from the number 14 car.
Yeah, let's have a look. So Sean doesn't go defensive, and Sean McClements, under racing law, he is entitled to be on the inside. I'm just not sure it's the smartest decision to go for when you clearly have a bit of a pace advantage.
I'd love to get
Sean McGoldrick, I think, actually spins the rears up first. If we could take another little look at it, I think Sean is already spinning, or unless it's just him turning into the corner. It is a good shot of it here. Let's have a look. So Sean, not alongside. It's a late lunge, as Sean has already committed. I'm not sure if there'll be a penalty in it, but I do think the fault does lie on Sean McClements, and it's very disappointing. He was looking to sweep the 3 races this evening, like he swept away Father Joel's bestie, but unfortunately it wasn't to be here in Mid-Ohio. He'll have to leave it to his cousin and his brother to fight for this one, or Conor Mealy, if Conor Mealy wants to win it. Peter McCann fighting with Dara Halley here as well. Ken Doyle fighting with Dermot Toomey. We have some great battles on our hands with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead, sadly, as the two of them come together as Ken Doyle. A little bit of a bump there on Diarmuid Toomey, which sends him behind David Prunty. This is a nice little battle between these guys, normally midfield runners, but this time having an outside shout of a original Formula One points place. As Dylan McClements and Conor Melia continue their battle. Ronan Darty now 4/10 down the road. There's a little bit of breathing space between these three guys, and then quite a bit of breathing space between Conor Melia and Dara Halley behind. But certainly it seemed like that was on Sean McClements as the car who was attacking. It was kind of in no man's land, really, and never committed properly to the inside of the corner, which always meant that they were going to come together, given the way that corner went. Thanks to Johnny Hollywood for watching us. I know Johnny's probably gone. He has to head off to bed. He is... no, he does. He's a call, actually. He's working.
He's a paramedic.
Well, he's in good company there as Johnny. I wonder where he's working out of. That's very interesting. Maybe that's something we can talk about off air. Jamal Gondor says Sean is killing it
Johnny
this
Hollywood's
week.
livelihood when he's not even here.
Yeah, I know. Jamal Gondor says Sean is killing it this week.
Here we go. Sorry, Kevin. Dylan McClement's going for the lead. Not able to pull it off though. Thanks, Dylan. I interrupted him, and that was very anticlimactic.
Well, Dylan trying the same line actually that we saw Conor Melia go around in that battle in the last race, but there is just no traction out there. And this is the thing about the circuit, Evan, is that obviously it's a little bit of bowling from Sean McClements, and if he's not in trouble before, he'll certainly be in trouble with that one. That is smacking into the back of Diarmuid Toomey, sending him into David Prunty, who is once again off the wall, unfortunately, but not in the way that his sponsors would quite like. That's very untidy from Sean McClements, just being totally caught out on braking. And that's two cars he's spun around this evening. So not great, really, from the number 14 car. All very untidy and really souring what's been a great evening from the opening two races. Now Ronan Darty running wide slightly once again. I doubt they're getting X points there because they all seem to be running quite wide there on that opening corner. Ronan leading Dylan McClements. He's certainly doing a great job of holding him off, Evan, but this track, it's a great driver's track, but not too many very heavy braking points, not too many real chances to overtake once you get past the keyhole.
Not too many chances. You've got to be very brave if you want to do it. Just someone else who's having a great heat free, Ken Doyle, up 11 spots now. Sean McClements' warpath is helping him in that, but he is up 11 positions to 6th place, and this is Dara Halley and Peter McCann swapping spots once again, so Dara Halley up and ahead. It seems like if it's just two cars on their own, the slipstream is powerful enough, but add any more into the equation and it's cancelling out a little bit. So these two car battles are very good. Dylan McClements will almost be hoping for a mistake for Conor Melia to give him a free shot at his teammate for the race win.
Yeah, absolutely, but Conor's been really good this evening, so don't expect to see that at all. And I think Conor's tried a few moves in parts of the circuit, they haven't quite worked out for him, so I think he's starting to learn now where's best to attack. As speaking of attacking, the Seans of the Dead try and go at it once again. This time Sean McGoldrick trying to move on to Sean McClements, which isn't quite happening, but Sean all over the back of Ken Doyle and threatening to spoil that 11th place gain from the number 25 Ling Motorsport car. He's all over the back of that green and white machine is Sean McClements. And we are almost, if Sean McGoldrick moves out of the way, we'll almost have the tricolour, or a variation of the tricolour, with the green, the white, and Diarmuid Toomey in the kind of orangey red behind.
Jeez, there'll be a statement put out about this.
You can tweet accidentally Irish with that one, an Instagram account which deals entirely with people accidentally creating tricolours. I think Ken Doyle deciding that discretion is the better part of valour and leaving both Seans through for fear of being sent into the next dimension. As Dylan McClements trying to put a bit of pressure under Ronan Darty. Ronan's slightly off the racing line now, but it is also inviting Conor Melia into the fray. Conor's going to try and get side by side with Dylan. Dylan's going to try and send it down the inside of Ronan Darty. The two of them go side by side and just about holding them off is Ronan Darty, as Conor Melia once again putting a bit of pressure on Dylan McClements, but as you were, but certainly not for what to try.
Yeah, very clever from Dylan McClements there to positioning in the car, and I'm not doing what the NFL commentators do with Patrick Mahomes and pick up on every little thing and compliment it, but that was smart by Dylan where he positioned the car just to the right place where he didn't have to back out, so Conor Melia didn't get ahead, because one little lift there and Melia was through and challenging for the win at the prime time point in the race.
Yeah, it's the most difficult position to be in, I think, to be in the middle, because you're trying to make your gamble. Any sort of potential loss from trying off the racing line invites pressure from behind. So you're kind of looking in front, you're also looking to your side, and you're trying to look all at the same time whilst trying to run clean laps. Now, Dylan was trying the outside line there. He realised it's not going to work through the keyhole, so he slapped back in to stop Conor Melia mounting a challenge. He's going to try and slipstream here. We'll see if that theory is proven correct, but it looks like these two guys have pulled away a little bit, so we might have that slipstream effect as these two cars go side by side. Let's have a look at Dylan McClements. He touched there. Ronan Doherty, excuse me. Ronan's going to hold the inside here though, but Dylan's going to be first into the corner. Very tight, but Ronan Doherty hitting the curb, sending him into the side of McClements. McClements comes back around the inside. That opens the door now, so it looks like Conor Melia is going to have the inside, but Conor getting squirrely on exit in the 56 machine and loses his opportunity to overtake the number 88 car. Very tight here, and once again, Evan, all three survive. They stay where they are, but that's not exactly the intention as we head into the final 2.5 minutes here of this feature race.
That was very close for Conor Melia. The rear was all out of shape there. It was going buck wild heading down the hill. And he's done a good job to hold on to it to keep himself with a chance here. Ronan Doherty's doing a very good job. And does this remind you of anything, regular RTA viewers? This is exactly how it was last season, but the other way around. Dylan McClements just keeping Ronan Doherty behind at all costs. Was not able to get past. It's what makes for brilliant races here in Mid-Ohio. Ronan Doherty is looking to kindly return the favour to his teammate. Heading down towards the keyhole, turn number 2. No move going to be on here. They'll have to wait for down the straight as all. Peter McCann sliding and drifting his way for the first corner in the background.
It's very, very, very... Just goes to show you the skill level here that three of them can be trying to push and shove and eke their way into the spots, but they're still managing to avoid any major contact. I say that and knock on wood. I don't know if you can hear that, well, it's knock on plywood because I can't afford an actual wooden desk, but you get the picture. Right, Ronan Doherty holding off Dylan McClements, and no, actually, it is.
No, surely you get one at IKEA.
Well, you can get one in IKEA, but other ones are available. Other good retail stores are available. Scandinavian sounding names, which is where I do think I got this. I can't actually remember where I got this. Oh, Woody's, that's where I got this. So there you go.
Yes. Very Scandinavian.
Woody's. Meatballs not included. Right, Ken Doyle battling with Diarmuid Toomey, and it looks like the Mitchelstown man is going to find his way into 8th position. It's a race too late, unfortunately, for Diarmuid in the context of the reverse grid pole, but it is more points for the Teng Tool sponsored 13 car in his fight for the B Championship. But speaking of race victories, this is the man who has the 8 ball in his hand at the moment, Ronan Doherty. He's putting all kinds of pressure on Dylan McClements and Conor Melia to respond, but with the final lap looming, or we're into it now, it looks like Ronan has done just about enough to keep these two guys at bay.
Yeah, let's see. Is there a late lunge for Dylan McClements, who almost had the inside there? Ronan drifted off the apex a little bit, but that is going to give Ronan Doherty the better exit. So it's all up to the slipstream, and it's all up to the bravery of Dylan McClements into the braking zone. He said he was playing it tame with his brother. How does he play it with his cousin? Is he going to lunge it down the inside? He has a brilliant run. Ronan Doherty defends with all his might, and Dylan McClements is going to have to sweep round the outside here if he wants the race win. The number 48 in the Rossi livery sweeps round the outside. The number 88, apologies, and Ronan Doherty, he's made a mess of it. It's a total blunder from the championship leader, who, when the lights shone brightest, made the mistake. Dylan McClements is through, and for the second consecutive season, it's looking like he's going to win heat number 3 here in Mid-Ohio, unless Conor Melia can say something about it and take his second heat 3 win of the season. But it's looking too far-fetched for another championship challenger. What a moment! and a dramatic one at that in this season. The 20 minutes are up. It's the last lap of the race, and Dylan McClements fought and fought for the race win, and he's just about taken it. An advantage, or it's all because of a mistake from Ronan Doherty that he took advantage of. Dylan McClements takes the win. Conor Melia in second, and I imagine a very frustrated Ronan Doherty in third.
Yeah, in the battle of the brothers, it was Sean had the running, but in the battle of the cousins, Dylan made sure he made it count when it matters most. What a superbly ambitious move from McClements. He went round the outside into turn 4. He had the inside for turn 5 and put enough pressure on his cousin to push him to the outside. Unfortunately, Ronan just catching an a bit of oversteer and sending him off into the grass. Just enough to put Ronan Doherty off, as Ross Wheatley looks like he's had contact with Emma Dempsey, is it? Let's see what happens here going into the final running. But yeah, it looks like Emma has pit maneuvered. Yes, I'm sending both of them into the barrier. That's really silly stuff, Emma, I have to say. In what was turning out to be a good evening for herself, but unfortunately for Emma, always it seems to be the issue of not being able to stay out of trouble for the number 17 car. Too many incidents robbing her the opportunity of a B Series championship title even this earlier on into the season. But what a superb move from Dylan McClements, sending it down the inside, round the outside, then the inside, and holding on right when it mattered most. And as you said, Evan, lights shone brightest. It was Dylan McClements who shone the brightest too. What a result for Dylan McClements. He is our final race winner. He's taken second position, 2 second positions, and a first position. It's going to be a great evening in the McClements household.
Yep, third win of the season for Dylan McClements. Conor Melia in second, Ronan Doherty in third. Then it will be Dara Halley in fourth, Peter McCann in fifth, Sean McClements in sixth. And it will be Sean McGoldrick, Dermot Toomey, Ken Doyle, Phil Upson, David Prunty, Ronan Duffy, Emma Dempsey, Dave Collier, Evan Walsh, Ross Wheatley, Danny Dempsey and Ollie Meredith. Disappointing for Evan, Ross, Danny and Ollie, who ran into trouble in heat number 3. Right then, time for some interviews. Let's hear from your race winner, Dylan McClements. Dylan, congratulations, a race win for you. You've hounded Ronan. It was very similar to you and Ronan here in the IndyCar, but when push came to shove on the last lap, you made the move stick. Talk us through that race from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, once there was a bit of a carnage and I avoided it well. I think it was Evan Moss spawned. And then I worked my way up through Connor and then got into the run-ins too. And yeah, I was trying to make opportunities. And then the last lap, I just thought, it's just not going to work unless I fully sent it. And he made a mistake and I got the win out of that, so happy enough.
Yeah, that outside line, Ronan wasn't the only one who made a mistake. You obviously had to try it to go for your overtakes. Was it a part of the track, the outside line through that section, that just wasn't really feasible in that race?
Well, I mean, the other moves I was trying to run outside, I wasn't really sending it, if you know what I mean, because I was braking a bit early. But the outside line up the hill, you know, it's really hard to get grip around there. Even if you hold the tight line, you know, you're nearly sideways because of the tires. But yeah, another move, I just knew how to send it, and Ronan got unlucky with the wide line up there.
In terms of the championship, look, I don't think you'll argue it was a great evening for you points-wise. It's still going to be fairly close between yourself, Ronan, and Conor. You've 2 under your belt now. Is third time the charm?
Hopefully. I mean, I'm definitely going to be pushing for it. I'll have a look with the points tonight, and hopefully I have a great rest of the season.
Dylan, massive congratulations, and no doubt in my mind we will be speaking to you in Silverstone.
All right, cheers, Evan.
Now, second place in that one, Conor Melia with Kevin.
Conor Melia, congratulations. Second place in the race, up 3 places overall. You did a lot of battling this evening with a lot of different drivers. Sean McGoldrick, Dara Halley, you had a good ding-dong battle with Dylan McClements as well. You must be fairly sweating after those 3 races.
Yeah, no, this is a great track for racing, especially in these cars. Yeah, all 3 races, there wasn't really much time for a break between you know, the actual track itself, you don't really have much of a breather, and having, you know, a car 2 tenths behind you and a car 2 tenths in front of you is tricky. Yeah, good racing overall. I didn't have an incident. Again, my luck seems to be turning around incident wise. Yeah, I managed to avoid any of the kind of the big ones.
Well, that's the thing about it. So many others got caught up. Ronan Doherty got caught up in incidents. Obviously, Sean McGoldrick and Dara Halley coming together, but you managed to stay out of it. Nice little warm up now for what's going to be a big weekend for you. 2 questions. How are preparations? And more importantly, are you going to be bringing that glorious mustache to Mondello this weekend?
Absolutely am. It's been freshly pruned, ready. It's aerodynamic. It's ready to go. That's been most of the preparation. In fairness, is mustache preparation. The car I can take or leave, but the mustache is what really brings the pace. You know.
You'll be hoping. Will you be hoping that the weather gods will be delivering some rain this weekend? Will that make you a little bit more competitive? Do you think?
Yeah, like Jordan's there. Like obviously Ronan is there. Ronan's there in the wet or the dry, but Jordan's car is a bit of a monster in the wet. So it'll make the racing interesting for sure. For rounds on the Saturday, I'd be happy to get the 2 championship rounds in the rain. It'd be nice. And then for the trophy, I think it'll be a good battle either way. But I think for the championship points on the Saturday, rain would be lovely.
Right. Well, if you have as few incidents and are as quick in the real world as you are in the this week, I'm sure you'll have a great weekend of it. Conor Mealy, congratulations! Superb running all week, or all evening, should I say? And looking forward to seeing how you get on.
Thank you very much. That's
Right, so that was a newly pruned Conor Mealy. And finally, we will be joined by the man who had a very up and down evening, I think it's fair to say. Ronan Doherty, the man who came into this evening, our championship leader with Evan Dalton.
Yeah, Ronan, I don't think you really had a clean race at that one, whether it be through mistakes or contact or whatever. First and foremost, heat number 1, there was the incident with Dara Halley. What's your take on that one?
Well, if you watch the replay, it's just massive netcode. I was gonna go past him and then just it's probably about a tire's width between the cars and it just spins me around. The second one, I don't know if you think it's a mistake, but you watch the replay on that, you'll see the netcode off the back of Dylan as well when he's on the outside. And then the last race, I have no idea how I stayed in the lead that long with the damage, but it was just an unfortunate evening. Like, my pace is really good, but these things happen.
Where did you pick up the damage?
I'll give you a couple of guesses. Peter McCann, the first 2 laps,
Jamal.
doing
Oh,
mad stuff.
I was going to say Jamal Gandor.
It was
Yeah.
Peter McCann, the first.
Could have been Jamal, even though he wasn't racing. Definitely could have been Jamal.
Peter McCann, the first 2 laps, and then I was just turn 2. I was kind of my weakest corner anyway, and I had to like if I was 4 tenths ahead of Dylan, he'd still be alongside me into the following corner. So I wasn't even getting into 5th gear in that straight. So yeah, it was unfortunate, but these things happen. I think it's kind of maximised it until I made the mistake.
Yeah, look, we won't spend too much time looking at the negatives. A lot of positives for you this evening as well. Obviously, that battle with Peter McCann, and then the pace was very good. The fight back in heat number 1, it seems like, or it's hard for you to, I suppose, beat your best because you're always on the pace, but it seems like the form is picking up at the right time of the year.
Yeah, the pace was really good, to be fair. Qualifying, I shouldn't have given as many people toes as I did. Like, the 3 in front of me all got their lap times toeing off me. And then I had really good pace in the first 2 races, and the last one was a little bit slower. But yes, I go well at Mid-Ohio usually, so I think that was to be expected.
Yeah, and busy few weeks for RTA and real racing. You have the conclusion of this Mazda MX-5 Cup, and then of course the conclusion of your Formula Ford season as well. What's your expectations for those?
Yeah, I've got the Martin Donnelly on the last week of September. So that's going to be probably the most stacked single-seater grid in Ireland in 10 years. It's going to be a really good competition, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then hopefully I get the sponsorship at the end of the year to go and do something in England as well.
Well, you'll have to get on to the sim consultants for that one, Ronan, and they might be able to sort you out. But we will see. Congratulations on the pace tonight. I won't say strong results because you're never happy when you don't win, but congratulations on the pace tonight, and best luck in that Martin Donnelly trophy, and hopefully we see you across the water as well at some point.
Cheers, lads. See you.
So good to hear from our podium placers, and now time for the difficult bit where we pick our driver of the day, Kevin.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Ronan Doherty has to sponsor the sim consultants, not the other way around. But
I wonder can I do one of my
is-
free sponsorships again, where I sponsor but I don't actually pay anything? They're great
Yeah,
fun.
they're great. I was going to say,
Sean hasn't cracked that one yet.
no, I was going to say Lawrence de Soswa is does, so maybe you could ask him. Right.
That's a good call.
There are a few shouts in the chat for Dylan as driver of the day, naturally enough, given the exploits that we saw. But as you know, if you've watched us here on Country TV, which no doubt all of you watching have done, we like to give it to somebody who might necessarily always feature on the top step of the podium. So it was a toss of a coin, quite literally, between Conor Melia and Sean McGoldrick. And as you may have figured out, we didn't offer it to Conor Melia in the interview. So it is Sean McGoldrick who is our driver of the day this evening. Sean, he had a superb evenings running. And I think if it wasn't for that unfortunate incident with Ronan Doherty, I think I'm right in saying, no, Sean McClements, should I say, sorry. Early on in the race, I think he could have very much had an outside shout for a podium. So Sean, a really consistently good evening this evening, and the only real negative was something that was really caused by himself, so you can't use that against him. So Sean McGoldrick is our driver of the day at Country TV.
Yes, big congratulations, Sean. Drove very well tonight. There was a lot of nominations. Conor Melia, Phil Upson. But a job well done to Sean, a well-earned driver of the day, and he picked up some fortune as well. I saw a great quote today that says, sometimes in racing it's better to be lucky than good, and that really is the case. Next week, it is probably going to be our most chaotic round, bar Mount Panorama. We're off to Silverstone National, Kevin.
Yeah, we're continuing this transatlantic mega stint, which takes up most of this MX-5 quote-unquote World Series, because we're only going to 4 countries, but yeah. Right. So yeah, Silverstone is where we are off to next. A very, very short Silverstone National Circuit, a track that these guys know intimately well, many of whom real life, both in real life and on the sim. So no doubt there's going to be some local knowledge put to the test there. That is where we're heading on the 16th of September. So you can join us then for that one. Evan, any final thoughts as we head into the second half of this season, or indeed as we head towards the Leinster Trophy weekend this weekend in Mondello Park?
Leinster Trophy is going to be great, guys. Make sure you get yourself down to some good ICCR classes and championship battles happening as well. A lot of ex and future RTA going to be racing. Of course, Evan Waltz will be racing. Sean McGovern, who raced with us last season, is going to be racing in 2 classes. There'll be a lot more as well. So it's going to be a good weekend, and there'll be loads of RTA folk hanging around. I'm sure Ronan Hederman might make an appearance at some point. So if you want to see the man... Did you say no? Sorry, Ronan? Ronan Hederman will not be there. So, I mean, if you don't like Ronan, it's a great time to go to Mondello. It's brilliant time, as a matter of fact.
The tickets selling out the door now.
Yeah, we're doing ICCR marketings for them. But no, going to be a good one. Anyways, on our season, or in RTA, it's been a good first half to the season, but I think the second half of the season is going to be better. We have a great championship battle on our hands, a lot of quick drivers. It's one to watch every Tuesday. Yeah,
absolutely warming up exceptionally nicely. If you do want to keep track of what's going on in the season, or indeed if you're interested in signing up for the season, which, as I said, I've heard on the QT, maybe the same cars that are involved in this weekend's Leinster Trophy Showdown, head to rtamutual.com. All of the championship standings and indeed ways to sign up will be on that, as well as a link to the Discord where you can keep up with a lot of the crack that's going on here that we talk about. No doubt all of you watching are probably already members, but just in case, that is where you head to for that. Also, you can head to motorsport.ie for the latest in Irish motorsport. We are in the throes of a whole host of championships, everything from rally cross to uh, tarmac championships to circuit racing and everything else in between, car trials as well, everything on there. Leo Nolte keeping that running for quite some time now. And do check out the Sim Consultants as well. As I said, we are getting towards Christmas. It's a great opportunity to think about somebody in your life that's that loved one, or if you're the only one who loves you in your life, then it's a great opportunity to buy something for yourself. And do keep an eye on our Boa Motorsport, who will probably be covering the Leinster Trophy over the weekend, if you are keeping an eye on that as well. Right, that is all of the shout outs for the week. Thanks so much to everyone for joining us, everyone for getting involved on the chat from wherever you are in the world or across the country. Have a great weekend in this September weekend. Try and stay dry to the best of your ability. Enjoy Mondello if you're heading down. And until next Tuesday at 9 p.m, we'll talk to you then. Slán go fóill.